Hi, you guys. So I've never actually done an Instagram live before. This is my first time, so I'm excited to do this. I actually used to do Periscope a lot, and so I did a ton of live video then, but it's been a couple years since I've done one before. So this is kind of fun. Anyway, so I'm excited to connect with you this way. If you've never met me before, my name is Laura Clark from WholeFoodNanny.com. And I wanted to come on here today to share a personal story with you, and it's a story about my family. And I just feel like when we all have stories, and when we share, we are able to help others. And so I hope that by sharing my story, it can benefit other people's lives. And so yeah, and I do have a blog post about it. I posted it, I don't know, last week or something. So you may have already seen that, and I will probably give a little more detail here just because it's more natural. But so, and this is also with the approval of my husband because it has to do a lot with him too. Anyway, let's see, about 12 years ago, my husband and I were in college, and we had our first kid. I know, we had our first kid in college. That's kind of crazy. I get it. And we decided to, let's see, my husband was at college. Sorry, I'm brain fart. And my husband began to feel really sad. He began to feel a really heavy weight on him, and he told me, he's like, you know what, I'm not feeling normal. I don't feel very good. And I remember telling him how, I don't know what's going on. That's totally crazy. Anyway, through college, it was really, really hard. My husband experienced severe depression and anxiety, and being so young, I had no clue how to react, how to help him, and we were doing kind of the best we could. We did a lot of medication and things like that. And then for the last 12 years of our life, he has continued to struggle, and it has been really hard for our family. And I don't know if anybody has ever experienced mental illness before, but it's not something where you can just tell them to feel happier. There was kind of this constant dark cloud, and it was really hard just to make it through each day. And one of the things that we have tried, obviously we've tried antidepressants, and those were okay. For a time being. He said he felt like he was kind of numb on them. He didn't feel the highs or the lows. And then we also tried a few different oils, like essential oils, and we also tried a chiropractor, and he was a whole lot of money, but he was great help. He also had certain oils and amino acids to take, and we tried those. And those helped a little bit too, but it was kind of like not enough. He was still really spiraling down and really feeling terrible. And so and with a lot of these things, there's a cost benefit, and so a lot of it's really expensive, and we weren't in a position to just have as much money as we could to put into this. Though over the 12 years, we definitely have put thousands into it between doctor's bills and anyway. So we moved to St. George. So that's one of the reasons I haven't been on Whole Food Nanny. It was because our family was experiencing great hardship, but also we moved across the country. So we now live in St. George, and I have a friend here in St. George, and I talked to her about, I had known she struggled with depression for a really long time, and so I talked to her about what she was doing, because I went out to lunch with her, and I'm like, you know what, you're doing so much better. What are you doing? So she talked to me about a mental wellness company that was brand new, and she says, I have started taking some of their supplements, she says, and it's just made a world of difference. And I was like, okay, well, that's cool, good for you. And we continued here in St. George like normal. We were doing counseling and kind of always been doing that. But and things were getting really rocky again. We're getting really bad, and so we decided to try something different. We've tried a lot of different things, like even we've done some vitamin IV infusions. I don't know if you've heard of that before. We've done a lot of kind of just off the wall things. They're not off the wall, but just kind of different, you know. Yeah, Tara, he was able to hold his job, but that was always a huge fear. Because with people who struggle with mental illness or any kind of, you know, physical ailment in general, to some degree, there can be times where it's hard to wake up in the morning, and it's hard to be able to function at your job. And so honestly, that has been really hard for him, because he feels like he's not doing as good of a job as he should be doing. And so he carries a lot of guilt about that, even though he's done fine and he's been able to keep his job, which I feel so blessed for that. And I feel like we've been watched over for that. And there's been so much prayer through this whole process and knowing where to turn, because I feel like there wasn't one way to go that was just awesome. And so when we moved here to St. George, and I went out to lunch with my friend, she told me about these like natural supplements from a mental wellness company, and I was like, okay. I didn't do anything about it at first, but as things started getting really rocky again, and I started feeling really concerned, my husband and I just felt like, okay, well, let's try it. You know, we've tried a bunch of other stuff. Might as well just keep feeling determined and feeling like there's got to be something out there. This also lined up with this mental wellness company also lined up with a lot of the things that I was feeling personally about the gut, how important it is to have a healthy gut and to have a balanced microbiome, because all of that affects how you feel and affects your overall health. And so we decided to start these natural supplements, and it took about 2 months until my husband was saying how he was no longer experiencing brain fog. And I was like, really? You know, I just remember it up in the loft. I remember him being like, you know what? I'm not experiencing any brain fog. And I thought, really, that's crazy. I was like, well, you know what? Even if that's all we get from this, that is huge. Like, that's such a big deal. The brain fog was one of the things that was really hard for him. Also, just waking up and feeling like he literally had not slept through the night. So after that, we continued taking it, because I was told that it takes a while sometimes for it to finally click in people's system. And when you think about it, that makes sense. Like, you know, it takes a long time for things to balance out and to get back to a good optimal level. But so then it was about 3 months where he said, you know what, I'm noticing huge differences in my anxiety levels. He says, I'm just like noticing I don't feel as on edge all the time. And I'm like, wow, well, that's really great. I'm so happy to hear that. And then it was about 4 months where in my bedroom, he looked at me and he was like, you know what, I actually feel like myself again. And at the time I felt really in shock, because I feel like, really, we've done so much over the years, and are we finally getting to a point where we find something that's really helping and really healing your body and is natural, which you guys know I'm a huge fan of. So I kind of just like left the room and had some tears, and just was feeling so grateful that our prayers were answered, for him to be able to find relief. Oh, I'm getting emotional. I need a fan. Anyway, so that's kind of been the miracle in our family's life, and I just wanted to share that with you in case it could possibly benefit or help anybody else. I have ended up partnering with this company after 6 months of him on these, because I believe so much in how these are benefiting people's lives. So if you want more information on that, you can message me. But I just feel like as we come to understand how important it is to balance out our gut, and the importance of the microbiome and how it affects not just people who are mentally ill or who have mental health struggles, but it helps everybody in terms of their overall health and mental health. So I'm just so grateful, so grateful to be able to be back on Whole Food Nanny and to be having these experiences again, and for my husband to be feeling well and doing things he loves again, and feeling like he's a good dad and doing better at his job. All of that just like means the world to me. And so I just really hope that by sharing my message and by sharing the things we have experienced, that others too might be able to have the feeling of hope, or have the feeling, or find a way to benefit, find something that will work for them too. By the way, you guys, I do have the sweet potato recipe up on the blog now, which I'm super excited about. It's Whole Food Nanny, and it's wholefoodnanny.com. And it is like one of our favorite meals. So I hope you guys will check it out. It's also could be your meatless Monday or whatever. I love plant-focused meals, and so that's what this one is. Anyway, it was so good to connect with you guys.